What up, Dokkanners? Saiyan Day 2024 is about a week away, but the celebration for Saiyan Day should be starting even sooner than that. And then more importantly, the hints for the Saiyan Day festivities should be kicking in just a couple of days. So in today's video, we're just gonna be taking a look back at how things played out last year. We're gonna go through the hints. We're just gonna go through the series of events that led to us ultimately learning that Super Saiyan God was the Saiyan Day celebration unit. And I gotta say, going back through this has been so much fun, because the amount of hilarity that ensued from each subsequent hint and then Global essentially dropping the ball and just giving it away was just so funny. So this is going to be a much needed video for you guys to just see the state of Dokkan's community last year and how people received these hints. So normally Dokkan doesn't do the whole hint stuff. That's what Legends does. One thing that I'm very jealous about when it comes to Dokkan versus Legends is that Legends has 100% done the better hints. They do very cryptic hints that are not immediately given away. It's ultimately on the creators or some of the, you know, the more attentive people to figure it out, and that basically just gives it away for everybody else. But it gives you a minute. You need a second to think about it. For Dokkan, it's usually very obvious. Their hints have never been more than surface level. You look at the image, it looks like something, its colors are like something, boom, it's done. But this time there was a little bit more going on. So we have a series of hints dropped by JP Dokkan. They did these little like slideshow GIF things, and so from these you were supposed to figure out what was happening. Now I don't remember off the top of my head what every single one of these things meant. I actually don't even remember what this first one was, but one of the main things to come out of this first hint was that, actually let me pull up the tweet itself. Here it is. So let's take quizzes every day. Let's get to the final answer. First day, what do these four people mean? Let's use our heads and think about it. Now, as far as this one's concerned, I think the main theory that came out of this one was Kurayami, darkness. The reason why that came about was because Kuririn, Raditz, Yamcha, Mr. Satan. So those first syllables for each person's name spells out Kurayami, which is essentially darkness. Yami is darkness. So that made people think, okay, Goku Black. But wait, Goku Black is not a pure Saiyan. So then a discussion started that is Goku Black now going to be retconned into the pure Saiyans category or some form of a Saiyan? And nobody really thought God Goku at this point. I think what's actually funny, I can't show the tweet, but there were several tweets or like reposts where people were like, yeah, screw you, God Goku fans. People were convinced at this point that it was going to be Goku Black. And then ultimately those people got clowned upon. I'm gonna link all of these in the pinned comment if you guys want to just take a trip back down memory lane and go see. So I actually don't remember ultimately how this links up to the God Goku in the end. So if you guys actually remember what the final like logical through line was here, let me know. I really don't remember. Is it just darkness? Like not darkness that it's evil, but darkness that the sky got dark because Shenron was there and blah 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 blah. I don't know. But this is the first hint. Global Dokkan still hadn't done anything yet. Global Dokkan spills the beans in a couple of days. Then we move on to day 2. Day 2, let's take quizzes every day. Let's get to the final answer. Yesterday's answer will be today's hint. The amazing power of Saiyans. Illuminated by light, the story has progressed. Okay, so I think it did have to do with... Okay, so I think it was like light and darkness. Okay, so illuminated by light, the story has progressed. Now here, it shows you a bunch of pure Saiyans, right? It shows you a bunch of pure Saiyans. When did that Ultra Instinct Goku release? I actually forgot all this. Hold on. I think this was like all of the characters here were featured on Saiyan Day banners. That was like the surface level hint. But then the other thing was that there was Morse code at the end of this sequence. There was an unnoticed, there was an unusual amount of pause at the end during the black screen. That was because a message appears in there, which kind of sets the tone for the next hint. And so that's what people were so confused about, myself included. I mean, I can't even remember for the life of me what all of these ultimately meant. So kind of going back through this has been really funny. Only thing I can think of, seven Saiyans total here. 6 turn into 1, make Super Saiyan God. If we want to go with the Super Saiyan God relation, have to be pure-hearted, which obviously means Z Broly is not. Then people were like, beep, beep, go, 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 beep, 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 beep. You know what I mean? Like, the speculation just went crazy. This is the image that came out of that final shot, Morse code. So this was essentially, I mean, you could boil it down to a simple misdirect where everything else before that was essentially useless. But this is the answer to day 2, which is then going to light the way for day 3, which then dropped the following day. Was it possible to illuminate the darkness? So this, you know, it's kind of coming together here. So was it possible to illuminate the darkness? The light of the stars will guide you today. So what ended up happening is they showed Beast Gohan or Ultimate Gohan, they showed Pan, and they showed Goku. But the important thing was not the units themselves. It was the manner in which these rainbow stars were appearing. They were appearing through Morse code. Through Morse code, these three characters spelt out long, short, D, long, long, O, long, short G. It's not dog, it's God. But dog is the phrase to take out of this. So this is where it was essentially given away, because at this point, Global Dokkan then swooped in and gave us this hint. This dropped March 13th, and this essentially gave it away, because this is the scene where the God Goku first appears. This is kind of a zoom out cutout of the, you know, what is it? Bulma's patio, like backyard at Capsule Corp, where they were all relaxing during the Super Saiyan God ritual. Some people were still of the thought that this could be the scene where Goku Black emerged, which literally is the same place. So I suppose it wasn't 100% given, but also at this point, we had been given an inside source confirmation that it was going to be God Goku. So at this point, it was over. But I do think that the ride along the way was pretty cool. It was nothing that you could very obviously take away. Even though people were very set on their theories, there were still other ways to kind of go with these guesses. And I thought that that was really nice. So I hope that they continue that this year. I think that they will. We'll have to wait and see how extensive it is going to be. And then for the final hint, this is what it was. Let's do a handstand sometimes. I don't know what this means. This could just be classic Google Translate being trash. If you still don't know, try tapping Alt. I also don't know what that means, because with Alt, it shows 726, 1526, 426. I don't know how that translates to God or dog. Either way, I don't know what that means, but that was one hint. The other one that most people should care about is the fact that they show the dog here flipped upside down. So it's kind of like reverse. So reverse it back and you switch from DOG to GOD, and there you go. And then for Global Dokkan, I think at that point they showed this. This was like the final thing that Global needed. If you weren't looking at any insider sources, this essentially gave it away. So by March 15th, we basically knew that Super Saiyan God was coming up next. So in the span of essentially 3 days, that was where the hints started to culminate into what ultimately ended up being the Saiyan Day celebration. So again, how does this come back to this year? Well, since that it is March 10th right now, I would expect maybe the first hint to not drop until the 12th, which is around the time that the final piece of content drops on Global. The reason why I think that this matters is because kind of similar thing happened last year. Because right before these hints started dropping, we had this. So March 13th at 12 a.m., this dropped. The Collection of Epic Battles announcement, which means that the event was already live. And then the first hint for Global dropped on March 13th at 6 p.m. So 18 hours later, we got the first hint for Saiyan Day on Global. So I would imagine it could probably play out similarly, with the final piece of content on Global being the EZA for the Prime Battle Gohan. Assuming that drops, I mean, that is going to drop on the 12th, then maybe the 12th, like earlier in the day, or maybe at the 12th at reset. This is reset, by the way. Daylight savings is now kicked in, so we're no longer in standard time. It is now daylight time for those of you who live in that area. So everything's gonna be 1 hour delayed. But this being the final piece of content, they will probably drop some sort of announcement for this, and then maybe following later on that day, we'll get our first hint for Saiyan Day. I feel like that's how things should play out. But again, Dokkan is Dokkan. There's no way of knowing for sure, because they always do the most unexpected things. So at this point, maybe me saying all this just means that they're going to be dropping a hint tonight. Just basically what I'm trying to say is keep an eye out. It's going to be fun. It's going to be chaos. But ultimately, we will start to learn what is going to be coming up for Saiyan Day. And if it is going to be Z Broly, like my theory is, I hope that we can get some crazy hints that don't just give it away. I want us to earn it. I want it to be just as chaotic and ridiculous as this first one, because this was great. How the hell does this translate to God Goku, right? Come on. How does this translate to God Goku? You can't extrapolate anything from this that gives you God Goku. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I don't care. All right. So I think this is one of Dokkan's best moments. I hope that they can follow this up with some really good, really intriguing hints this year. All eyes are on Dokkan. Let's see what they do. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let in the comments your thoughts on how the hints were played out last year. Did you guys enjoy that if you were around for it? If you were not around, do you think that Dokkan could do something like that again this year? What sort of hints would you think that they would possibly drop? Would it be more of a series of images? Do you think that they will do something else? Maybe videos or puzzles? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts overall about this. Saiyan Day coming up. Your theories in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you'll let you know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.